So, Craig, thank you for speaking with us. We're here talking about the latest Rise of the Footsoldier film, Rise of the Footsoldier Vengeance. It's obviously the latest in a well-loved franchise. Where's Pat? What's Pat up to this time? Because he's always getting himself into some sort of trouble.
Well, it's more than trouble this time. This is more of a grown-up version. There's a lot more going on in this film. Yeah, this is he's on his own in this film, and it is purely a man on a mission for revenge, basically, to find out who killed one of his closest and best friends. And it takes him out of Essex into Soho, into a whole nother world. And it's a relentless, as I said, it's a mission. It's a violent mission, and he won't take no for an answer until he finds those responsible. So it's me just smashing everything in my path.
And like you said, this is kind of a little bit more grown up in a way to some of the other films in the series. There is that slight change in tone almost with this one. How do you think that shift enhances not only the film but the series?
Well, I think, it's very easy to become lazy with a franchise. And one of the aspects of doing this film was the fact of when we sat down, especially with me, Andy, and Nick, and we said, each one of these has to be different. It's got to be fresh. We've had humor, we've had ultra dark, ultra violent. So you're just trying to keep everyone on their toes and just not trying to just keep making the same old thing. So revenge, me on my own, was the next logical step. And I went off to Cape Town to do a TV series after I met Andy, and they asked me to do it. And then him and Jason Mazza went off and wrote a treatment, sent it to me, and I was like, yeah. And then before we knew it, we had a script, and here we are now.
And I think the films are sort of intrinsically, based, in and around Essex. I'm talking to you from Essex, and now that the attention, the action and attention sort of shifts to Soho. What was it like, sort of filming in that sort of central London location this time around?
It was a nightmare, absolute nightmare, chaos. It was difficult. Because we're on the streets, we're on Leicester Square and Tottenham Court Road, we're all round Soho, all the back streets, people, cameras, lights, crowds, people getting in the way. You got people with masks on, people with Apple phones in the back. It's the wrong era. It's like how we got away with that and how we done it, I do not know. But Nick was great. He was there. He was the captain. He kept everyone in control. Andy was overseeing everything, and between us all, we did what we needed to get done. And I still look back at it and think how we still did it, I don't know. I'm covered in claret, running around. There's people recognizing me. It was like wanting photos after for a scene. I'm like, it was mad.
Yeah, I mean, obviously, I'm in and out of Soho a lot for screenings and stuff, and that place is always busy. So yeah, I can't imagine the logistical headache. And also, like you say, the fact that these films aren't set in the present day, that's had this whole extra level of difficulty.
Well, anything period's a pain, isn't it? It's just it just is. Unless you've got 17 million quid, it's
And even then, look at Game of Thrones. They slipped up. They had like a Starbucks cup like randomly appear in one of their scenes. So even then, it's no guarantee. And what do you think it is about this franchise that is so beloved by many? Like I say, I'm in Essex. I mentioned that we were talking, and I'm sort of now at my daughter's school. I'm some sort of like hero for for talking to the Pat Tate. What is it about this franchise that connects to people?
You know what? I've been asked that question a million times. Sometimes I think we're a neglected audience. You've got all these big giant American movies, and if they're done well, British crime films, based a little bit on fact, three larger than life characters, guys who got murdered. There's always been this fascination with the Essex murders, and they've taken these characters, they've made them larger than life. And these spin-off movies that we've done, I just think that all I can tell you is, like, last night, packed our premiere. The screens, the films are going on, the messages that I get from thousands of people, they just love it. They love it. Can't get enough of it. Cannot get enough of Footsoldier. And thank God they do, because without them, there's no films.
Yeah. And obviously you've been playing Pat for a number of years. What is it about him as a character that gets you so excited to keep coming back to? Because I guess there is this tradition within franchises sometimes where suddenly there's a shift in actor play, obviously it's slightly different, but Bond, there's like several different Bonds. But what is it about that Pat that makes him so personal to you and that keeps you coming back?
I enjoy it. I mean, I went through a stage where I thought I was, I did a couple of art house movies and got some great, critical acclaim. And everyone said, Craig Fairbrass, great actor. Where's he been? He's underrated. My God, the stuff he's doing. And then I thought, I wouldn't be there. I would not have got those films if it wasn't for the value that I built as an actor through the Footsoldier franchise. And I thought, you've always got to be grateful for that. I love playing that character. I've had a lot of fun doing it with friends. And he's easy to play, and it's a laugh. So it's nice to go to work and enjoy being there.
Yeah, I can imagine. And I mean, it kind of feels like in a way that these, there's still a lot more stories within these characters. Are you hoping that this one does well enough that we can continue, further on? Are we going to be matching Fast and the Furious and get to like a 10th film?
Who knows? As I say, it's not my department. I'm just an actor for hire. I've said that a million times in every interview. It's not. I'm not a producer on these films. That's a that's a different department. And signature distribution. I mean, they all come together and to discuss what they want to do. And yeah, we'll see.
And obviously, this film's just about to be released, but you're also currently riding a bit of a wave of success with Netflix show One Piece, which has just done like absolutely phenomenal. Like, how does it feel? How does it feel when you're involved in one of these projects that you maybe you weren't necessarily a main character as such, but you're involved with, and then it gets released and it just blows up to something really massive?
Yeah, I mean, it's 84 in one country. So I was very, very lucky. Zeph is a very iconic character within the manga. It's not a huge role, but it's a very pivotal role in a humongous will. And the scenes that I've done have gone down so well because it's an emotional role. Being like a surrogate dad to Sanji, one of the lead characters. The scenes on the island with the boy, the goodbye scenes, the scenes with me and Vince, on the Baratier. It was a fantastic time in Cape Town filming it, and I just jumped at the chance to play a character like that, in a massive show.
Yeah,
nothing but great memories.
Yeah, and you've also got one of your previous films, Muscle, is getting a special screening at the BFI with a Q&A. I mean, that sounds like it's going to be a great night, right?
Yes, it is. Yeah, I love that film. I'm very, very proud of that film. Muscle is, Jared Johnson, who directed that, he started all this with me. He was the first person to come out the fog and go, there's something about you, and I think you need to be doing some other bits. You need a bit of an emotional, a bit of a character with depth. Someone who's got some vulnerability about him, and that was that film, Muscle. And it was, it's not a commercial film, so it's becoming a bit of a cult movie, which I'm glad about. So yeah, the BFI, nice evening, the Q&A. Be lovely to see the film again. It's a dark piece. I don't know if you've seen it, but it's seriously dark. And then I got Boat Story coming out in November, which is a big series for the BBC.
Cool. And you also, throughout your career, you've been quite involved in video games, which I always find really fascinating. Like, how as an actor is it to sort of transition from film and television into the video game arena? Because I mean, I mean, sometimes you look at some of the game series, they're even, you know, bigger than any, you know, well-established film franchise that you could name.
Yeah, I mean, they're just another medium. For me, they're just another job. I mean, they're very intense when you do them. I've not done one for a while. You know, things change on the Call of Duty, on the battlefields, and but yeah, they're you know, the motion capture. They're all different experiences as actors. You know, when you're working and there's nothing around you apart from a green screen and you're covered in dots, but you still have to put a performance in there that is believable. So you have to take it very seriously, learn your lines, be on top of the material, and do the best you can. So that was that.
Yeah. I guess it's almost like going back to like being a kid in the playground and playing pretend, because you can't see anything. You're having to sort of tap into that sort of like latent, you know, thing that we all grew up with, but anyone that's an actor's forgotten about. But it's with there not being anything to directly act off of, it is like all in your head. And it must be then quite interesting when you see the final piece, because it's not necessarily what you had in your head.
Well, yeah, with Battlefield and Star Citizen, they are giant green screen. They're motion capture. You don't know. You're standing with a piece of wood. You're covered in dots, and you don't know. With Call of Duty, you're standing in a booth with 3 great big screens, and the lines are just rolling in front of you, and you're just screaming and screaming, and you know, then you're giving orders, then you're doing. So you never actually know the environment you're in. But yeah, they're glad to have been a part of them.
Yeah, and like, you know, it shows sort of like the variety in your career. Not only are you, like you're saying, you're doing these sort of more sort of stripped back emotional projects like Muscle, and then your big sort of like action revenge thrillers like Footsoldier. You've got the video games, you've got various other things. How important is it to you as an actor that you do diversify and keep challenging yourself?
Oh, massively, massively. You know, and it's only now these last, I think these last 10 years, but more so specifically these last 5 years have been where I've had a chance to be a lead in a film, and all the colours have been written there. You know, the vulnerability, the redeeming qualities, the heart, the aggression, the roles that you can get your teeth into to show your skills as an actor, and hopefully, you know, I've been trying to prove myself for years, because I do take the business very seriously. But I've tried to prove myself, and the proof has been in the pudding that I've done the work that has had the critical acclaim, and I'm now at a stage where I'm getting some really good stuff come to me. So, you know, I just want to just keep moving forward, hopefully making the right choices, and you know, doing films that the people who write to me and message me like to see me in.
Yeah.
You know, I'm trying to please them as well, because the fans are so important. And I do get now on social media, I know now that there's a fan base that like to see me do a certain thing. Yeah, long answer. I hope I made that clear.
But I mean, you say that you know, it's like recently you started getting critical acclaim, but you know, there was that episode of EastEnders that you did, you know, that won a BAFTA, you know, the four-hander. So you know, this isn't anything new. But do you think that there is still that stigma of going from being in a popular soap to then having to sort of like reprove yourself in a way?
Oh, massively. Massively. I mean, no one's done what I've done from leaving the soap. I know that 100%. The films, the games, the leads in movies, the American shows, you know, it can be the kiss of death. But, you know, me, I was very, very driven. I believed in myself. I knew that I had more to offer, and I would not take no for an answer. You know, I just kept chasing the dream, kicking doors down in my mind, knowing what I wanted, and lucky enough that the scripts came along, and I had the right auditions and nicked the right roles. But I was only in the rooms because people believed that I had something to offer. So, yeah. But you know, I look back on that. EastEnders made me a better actor, because it is like rep on film. It's, you know, you're doing 20 scenes a day sometimes, and you're learning lines constantly, and you're working with great people who are you know, that four-hander, the Sids, the Patses, the Lindsay Coulsons, you know, when you're working with people like that live for an hour, they were the cream of the show then, you know, and it brought my game up because you're only as good as a person you're opposite.
Yeah. I mean, I personally, I never get the sort of like the snooty looking sometimes at soap actors, because it is like you say, you're constantly learning lines, you're shooting like however many episodes a week, and it's, you know, when you're in and you've got a long stint of a couple of years, and that's a lot to learn. It's a lot of commitment, and you know, it always boggles my mind that is seen as lesser than somebody that will go on a shoot for a couple of months. And you
can't leave there and not become a better actor, because you're constantly training your skills. You know what I mean? You can test stuff on there. You can gauge, you know, how big to go on certain scenes, and that you can actually experiment on camera. Yeah, I've got nothing but admiration for, you know, and I'm grateful for them times.
And other than the projects that we've touched upon in this chat, what does the future for Craig look like? Are you looking to get more involved in the writing and producing process again? You know, maybe
I am.
directing some stuff.
Funny enough. Yeah. There's a couple of things that have come my way. Some TV things that I'm looking at. Some more films. Nothing worth screaming about yet because it's not real. In the downtime, because of the strike of production, just trying to ferment and develop some stuff that's come my way. So, you know, fingers crossed.
Cool. Yeah. Well, we at THN, you know, we're big champions of your work, so we can't wait to see what you do next.
That's very kind of you. Appreciate it.